best Superman movie. Because he's basically Superman.
Yep. Oh, he is. He's what if Superman was just some drunk jerk?
I mean, like, his power level, even having a... Not that his weakness is the same or done in the same capacity, but...
It was a clever idea.
It was.
That was, like, super clever, in my opinion.
I give it props for cleverness, as you do. And, honestly, if they should copy Hancock without the drunkenness, or not as much of it.
Yeah.
And then, but Hancock is my favorite Superman rendition, which is, every time I tell people that, they go, what? I'm like, well, never mind. But I liked it.
It's very good.
It is very good, and it does the Superman power level very well. Like,
yeah.
And
Superman right now does all this death and destruction, and everybody writes it off as, well, he's Superman. He did for a good reason. It's okay.
Yeah.
And what Hancock does perfectly goes
the exact opposite.
Like goes. It's not that he's doing it for a good reason. It's because he looks like a freaking Boy Scout doing it. Like, if it was just some hobo on the street who just had a beer, even though he just saved everybody's life, how dare he because of the way he did it?
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes is with the train when he saves.
Oh yeah.
When he like stops the train and
I saved the man's life. Why, you could have thrown him out of the way.
Yeah, and does all that, and then like, you smell of alcohol because I've been drinking.
I smell alcohol in your breath because I've been drinking.
It's fantastic. That line is one of my favorite lines because it's true. Well, that's because I've been drinking. But like, if that was a Superman. Not just movies, Superman, anything, and he did it that way, he'd be like, thanks for saving the day, Superman.
He'd be like, oh, Superman, if it weren't for you, he'd be dead.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I love it as a take on Superman, and I think Man of Steel should have I think if you're going to do, I think they had it set up fine before Batman vs. Superman. Man of Steel, whatever, bleh. Man of Steel 2, because he's basically our Iron Man.
Yeah. Well,
Batman.
You do Man of Steel 2, and then you address the fact that he ruined an entire city.
Yes. And then you can have Batman or Batfleck, just to differentiate it, be his own thing. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe establish an overarching villain this way.
Yeah. Brainiac. Come on. I'm sorry. DC, stop with Luthor and Zod. He's got more than those two villains.
Oh, yeah, no, I've always said Brainiac. Every time I hear a super movie, like Brainiac, and it never happened.
Metallo, Parasite, if you do him well enough, because Parasite's kind of meh, but if you do like the cartoon version of him, he could be really good.
Brainiac's so easy, though, because he's the one that you could do very easily kind of teaming up, I don't know, with Batman villains.
Yep.
And I don't know, everybody else.
You know, even if you want to do the Lex Luthor thing, fine. He's teamed up with Brainiac.
Yeah.
You know, they're like just more villains than what we've got.
My problem...
Because in the Superman universe, it's been so saturated that any moviegoer, you go, name me 3 Superman villains. They'll go, okay, there's Zod, Luthor,
and Luthor.
That black comedian who was with Luthor.
Yeah.
That
Luthor.
The Luthor, that sun dude. Like Luthor and Zod are always thrown in there, no matter what, because and Bizarro Superman would be a great villain because that would be like that could be a perfect mirroring. You know, Superman being like, you can't do this, you're destroying stuff, and he can be like, but what different than you do, type of thing, you know? And then that whole conflict of, we're writing this stuff for you, DC.
I mean, and the silly thing is, DC, you wrote it already. It's called your Superman comics.
Yes.
It's been written already. And Brainiac is just, he's different enough to be a nice, refreshing thing, and he's different enough, but yet, if you followed the cartoons at all, you might have catch Brainiac, so you might be one of the more, probably the third guy that some people will be able to mention, you know what I mean?
That could be even there writes itself. You do Brainiac first, Okay. Next film, Brainiac creates Bizarro Superman. Because, forget Lex Luthor making Bizarro, use more villains.
Yeah.
And the Eradicator, there's a whole Doomsday, there's a slew of villains you could do that are so perfect for Superman movies.
Oh, yeah.
Than just a business theanthropist.
My problem with DC is kind of my similar, peeve with Marvel stuff. But in terms of, we really only are capitalizing on, having Captain America and Iron Man and stuff is a little bit different. But having Avengers, X-Men, and then Spider-Man. I know Avenger, but you get my point. Different licenses and stuff.
Yeah.
But we really only truly are capitalizing on the same big three groups of Marvel. Occasionally you get a Ghost Rider movie and you go, man, that was really mediocre, and then you watch the second one and you go, Nicolas Cage, I think is still a great choice, but you guys got to give this some effort.
Crouching at the door.
They just got to give, I don't know, a little bit more effort into their. If they gave half the caring they did of the Avengers into Ghost Rider, you have an amazing movie. But and then we have, how can we screw up Fantastic Four this time? Yeah. And they do that too.
Okay, I'm going to give that movie a shot because it can't be worse than Rise of the Silver Surfer. I cannot.
Be careful what you say.
I cannot come to believe that there could be a Fantastic Four film worse than that. Though this is getting to there because the director named Doom, he didn't name him Victor. And then he came out and went, no, I'm actually pretty sure everyone's going to hate the fact that his name is not Victor. I'm like, so why did you do it?
Yeah, exactly. It's
that's like sitting there going, oh man, I'm going to piss everybody off. While you're writing it. And I'm sitting there seeing like a co-writer going, then maybe, no, it'll be funny.
Right, this isn't a comedy, so why would you do that?
And everyone's, it's you know what it is? It reminds me of someone tuning in their inner Andy Kaufman. It's funny to them, but they're not realizing that they're just pissing everybody off.
That can happen, and that can be useful and work in small dosage, not something like, hey, guess what, he's called Steve now, or whatever, right?
His name is Vladimir, or something where you're going, it's not even, it doesn't even start with a V. It sounds German.
Right, but my point is, it's when you do that where clearly that's not the character anymore, but it is, but whatever. It's a little lame. It can work in small doses a little bit, but not in that capacity. But Marvel's big successful franchises, and not just because it's Marvel, but the ones that do the best are the ones that I listed. The X-Men group, Avengers style group, and then Spider-Man's been holding its own really independently.
Yeah, but apparently 2 killed the whole thing.
But 2 was so good.
2 is good, but I will agree. There was way too much prepping for the third film.
A bit, but...
It was a good movie. Don't get me wrong, but I feel that they should have taken aback some of the prep work and focused inwardly more on the film. But it's a shame that we're not going to see Amazing Spider-Man 3. That's for sure.
Right.
I'm upset about that.
But, let's be honest, though. This is kind of like how every Spider-Man franchise ends. It just gets canned, and then it comes up again. Spider-Man is the unkillable thing. But,
no. No matter how many times it fails, it keeps on trying.
But that's my problem with Marvel is that and they have, and don't get me wrong, they're working on that. We got Ant-Man coming out. We have the Guardians of the Galaxy as well. They're expanding their horizons more. So now that they had success, they have their beachhead, their foothold. They can do crazier things and have it work. The problem with DC is they haven't, and when they do it, they're always rehashing the same in the case of villains. And it's always the same.
And they're convinced that it's going to springboard.
And don't get me wrong, Scarecrow is a new take on Batman.
Yes.
I think Scarecrow was okay. I think a great origin story villain, because he's not too crazy in depth of the lore of Batman, you could say.
And I liked that they partnered him. I think they partnered him up very well.
They did. And, Joker's a classic. You never go wrong with a Joker done well, which has been the case thus far. But Batman has other villains. The Arkham series has proven that and proven that they can be done well for a movie dummy, even if you wanted to. And then you have Superman. And it's always Batman, Superman that they always do because nobody else really knows. The thing with DC doesn't have that many like pop culture characters like Marvel. Yeah, they tried it with Green Lantern because that was their closest shot, and it didn't work out too well. But when they pick up Batman again and they pick up Superman, who do they devolve to with Batman? Well, they devolve to Joker. They did kind of Bane.
Oh, they got Suicide Squad coming out now.
Ooh, great, but
which is introducing the Joker,
right,
and Harley Quinn.
But it's just like...
And I don't like the look of the new guy. He looks like a biker pretending to be the Joker. Have you seen the picture of him?
Is that the one when he's all tatted up?
No. Keep going. I'll pull
screaming?
It up.
Or is that for like the TV show?
I think that's for the TV show.
That one looks silly. That one looked more like he's gonna go on stage and sing a bunch of rock songs and not a villain. But anyways,
let's see.
But it's just...
This is okay. I'm gonna pop it up now.
Gotcha. But like Batman, they had Scarecrow, then they hit us with the Joker because Joker's iconic, and I think he's a good decision. Like Spider-Man's a good decision to do things, and then they went to kind of sort of Bane, but stall out. Yeah, him. That's the one. He looks like he's about to sing on stage.
He looks like a death metal rocker.
He does. He does not look like a villain.
He doesn't look like a Batman villain at all.
He doesn't even look like a villain. He looks like he belongs as part of Cradlefield, Slipknot, or his own band. So it's just like it's a little sad, but but I don't know. It's just I would like to see more diversity on both sides, and Marvel's doing that, and DC decides to just hit us with the same old villains and the same old setup. And don't get me wrong, I think you need to get a good established Batman and Superman to springboard Justice League. You do, but give us something that makes sense, not new Batman, have him fight Superman who's been developed already.
Yeah.
What?
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
It's weird, and I don't know. By the way, E3 happened, you know?
Yes. I am surprised the internet hasn't exploded because Square Enix teased a new Chrono Trigger game and it didn't happen.
Because, you know why? I'll tell you why.
Because
Chrono series fans don't expect anything to ever happen again. There will be the typical filibuster of the fans overreacting to that thing. And everything like that.
But even gaming sites that were like, oh man, they hinted Chrono Trigger, didn't go. Square Enix does not introduce Chrono Trigger. Like no big holy crap, this didn't happen. I'm shocked. I was expecting an explosion when I found out that they didn't even mention it.
You know why? I think this is my theory. Chrono Trigger was so good, and it still is so good, that and Chrono Cross you have to learn. It's good, but on a different way because it's so different from your typical RPG.
It is weird.
Yeah, once you get used to how it works, though, it's really cool. But
it is a fun game.
But you have to get used to the whole field system and everything. But But both great games. But Chrono Trigger was so good that I'm convinced, at our core of being a big Chrono Trigger fan, we don't want anything to happen to it. We want to keep it just the way it is. We like it. Just don't rehash it. Don't even re-release it digitally remastered. Just if anything, release it digitally. That's it. Don't taint it anyway. You know, I think that's my theory. I know it's wrong, but I like to think of it that way because it was. I can't overhype Chrono Trigger. It's impossible. It's really good.
I have it. I've never played it, but I don't have the one with Toriyama's drawings. I have the original N64 one, the Super NES one.
That's worth a lot of money.
Well, I don't have it physical cartridge. I bought a digital copy.
Oh yeah, no, but that's fine. All the other one really did is
they just added the Toriyama cutscenes.
Yeah, they added it. They did cutscenes that way, and then the DS one, which I have, added one more boss that really is more of an optional final boss than anything, so it doesn't really take away.
Okay.
But it is what it is. The thing, my problem with E3 is they could easily just have a day every year, essentially, where all the companies drop their bombshell teaser trailers and whatnot, and be done with E3.
Yeah.
It's like the Consumer Electronics Show. nobody really cares about it unless you're super hardcore into it, a part of the industry, or the SEMA. Nobody,
Yeah.
Unless you're into that and into the industry, nobody really cares. E3, there wasn't the internet readily available to spoil everything, and it really was a time when, you busted out your big guns and made debuts and made interesting topics, and
I'm getting, like, earlier E3s, I used to be able to watch them straight through.
yeah.
Now I've
Start type of thing. It's not. It's okay. It's okay to not be.
The only thing aside from a couple of Nintendo announcements that I was excited for was Battlefleet Gothic Armada, which looks awesome.
It looks cool. I'm still I need a demo. I need a demo I can play, to be honest, to make a decision.
They sold me when they said you can feel the Planet Killer.
Now, is it real time or turn based?
It looks like it's real time.
Because turn based instantly, no matter what it is, turns me off. I hate it.
It looks like it plays like StarCraft, except you're in space and you build your fleet, you launch your fleet, and then go.
So it's kind of like Dawn of War 2 without the reinforcement.
I believe so.
Which is fine.
I could be wrong. This is just from what I'm seeing from the trailers.
From what I've seen in the trailers, it looks cool, but ultimately, and with the gameplay footage stuff, looks cool, but ultimately, for something like that, I would need a demo I can play.
Deus Ex. Which, Deus Ex said something, and I am confused if I missed something.
What did they say? Because I was following that, but what are you confused about?
Were you able to get some augment in Human Revolution where you got to use his nanoblades outside of cutscenes?
That's if you did a stealth kill.
If you did a stealth kill, he uses nanoblades. Okay, because I never did stealth kill.
Arm?
Yeah, they're called nanoblades.
Because they're very much not nano. They're very much gigantic.
Yep. But that's what she calls them. In the thing she goes, he can now this time shoot his nanoblades.
Well, you never could shoot them. But
I'm just saying, like, she implied that you could use them in the game. I'm like, I don't remember any time where I got to use them.
You know how when you sneak up, you have the option to knock out or kill?
Yeah.
The kills are all with the blades.
Okay.
For the most part.
That explains it. I never killed them.
He would, cover the mouth, stab them through the back, or whatever it is.
Okay. That explains it. I never killed them with the blades.
Yes. That's when we got to use them in the game. We never got to, like, swing it like a sword or anything.
Okay. That's what I was confused about.
Yeah, no, I know because I tried for just stealth knockouts and tried to be all just because the more non-lethal you were, the more experience you got.
Yeah.
So I wanted to become an overpowered tank by the time I faced the first real boss, which I did. But anyway, but I had this one guy. Because if you knock certain things out, certain people can revive them and like wake them back up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get to him enough, but he kept reviving people. So I said, "Screw it, stealth kill you. I hate you." But that's and I stealth killed some other people because it's just one time I hit the wrong button. I'm like, that's not the way I want to do it. This is going to alert everybody. But yeah, that's how it is. It looks cool. It's interesting the take they're going with it. I'm concerned only because I don't want it to go too far away from its, by the way, trying to get spotted roots. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen some stuff where he basically nano armors himself up and just takes hits like a beast. I'm like, cool, but I don't want the game to turn to prototype. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing that I want them to do is one of two things. After this game, either remake the first one.
They should. It deserves it.
Or make the next one happen after Invisible War. Because I'm sick of all these prequels.
Yeah, prequels are a bit annoying only for the sole purpose that we know how it ends, essentially.
Yeah, not even just that. Is because then you're limited to what you can and can do, and then you're like, wait, why isn't this available? Like, there's a couple of these pieces where I'm like, why isn't that tech available in Deus Ex? That happens in the future.
Oh, yeah, no. And I think the process in Human Revolution should be applied to a redo of Deus Ex, because it's clunky. The game hasn't aged particularly well in terms of how the
visuals.
system... Well, aside from visuals.
And
how
the system works.
How the system kind of works for upping your capabilities.
Yeah.
And I think a system more like Human Revolution would make that game streamlined a lot better. For example, you didn't need a gun upgrade to be able to shoot well.
Yeah.
And that is what really hurt Deus Ex for me. I played through Deus Ex, but what really hurt it for me is, like, you offer me an FPS, this is an FPS style thing.
And you suck at shooting.
And you are punishing me for not upping my pistol skills, even though I can clearly aim it as an FPS player. But in Deus Ex, I think if they did that to kind of correct some of the problems of its aging, not just visually, but some of that, and just re-released it, it would be fantastic. And you're right, Invisible War was a terrible way to end the series. They should do a game after that.
And just in general, if you're going to do these prequels, I think the what I hate the most is they're doing prequels and they're establishing that this is not a reboot. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to keep going with this prequel junk, then you admit that this is a reboot.
I thought they said this was not like a hard reboot, but kind of a reboot for the origins of what happens in Deus Ex.
It's a reboot of the origin story, but they're basically saying that everything that happens in the first game still happens.
Okay.
And I'm saying, they're introducing elements that you're sitting there going like there's some tech in there. They're like, why don't I have this in the first game?
Oh yeah, no. One of the silliest things is
I guess the big thing is it's when Episode 1 first came out, everyone was like, where did all this tech come from? Because we don't see it in the originals. And that's what I think I'm having an issue with is, if they just said this is a hard reboot, I'll be like, okay then.
Well, there are definitely some things that are silly, not even things for what I can do in the game, but more things like, so the VTOL aircraft looks way more futuristic in Human Revolution because in Deus Ex we get literally a helicopter.
Yeah.
That's the silliness for me there.
And your guns are a lot more futuristic.
Yeah, and that's the silliness of it, but I get why, but it still is silly. But there are things that I would like, if they're going to make this kind of be a reboot for the origin of Deus Ex and J.C. Denton and all that, there are things in Deus Ex that never really get explained, like those weird men in black that are purely cyborgs and other things that I would love to see kind of make reference to. Things that kind of go, what's the deal?
They claim to be higher ups, but I'm not sure if they're executives, if they're the Marines, well, you're right, you don't know what they are, or that one dude that's that takes over the company who is clearly a higher up. Yeah. You're just that would be nice to know to know more about them.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that I hope doesn't happen with the Deus Ex series, I hope it doesn't get any more convoluted than it is. We have enough characters to go on and develop now, and see what kind of happened with certain characters, like Tracy Kong and all that, and that's great. I just don't want too many. What I noticed in the trailer, and maybe it's just because they look so much different now because graphics are good. I didn't when I see what's going on, I was expecting a bombshell release of no way that was the dude from the Deus Ex. I've seen nothing of that, and I don't want it to get too far-fetched with the number of craziness going on because we had enough to begin with, and so I don't want to get too convoluted that way because Deus Ex is definitely a game that's already convoluted. And I would love to have some daytime missions where I'm actually in the daytime, not in a building in the daytime, because you can have cyberpunky future in the daytime. It's okay. They do establish the sun is still around. Yeah, it's okay. That's the one thing.
We do see some sunsets in cutscenes.
You do, and you saw some of that when you played Human Revolution. It's that's some form of the sun. This is unheard of. But it's
blasphemy.
But that's the one thing I've always found kind of silly about. I love cyberpunk setting, and I look at it going, this isn't Vampire the Masquerade. We can be out in the daytime. It's okay. Yeah. We don't need. We're not going to burn to death.
But my big thing for me is I want to see the next game be a reboot, a remake of Deus Ex. Just give us that.
Yeah.
Because, like I just said, I'm just getting sick and tired of playing. I'm like, okay, can we just steamroll into the first game already?
I would like it if it doesn't drastically change things too much. If it basically keeps the story.
Yeah.
But streamlines how it works in comparison to how Human Revolution works. Use that type of engine. That'd be great.
Yeah, streamline the series, account for any adjustments that were made that would be contradictory now because of the whole, because of the first two games, and just work on that.
Yeah, and then what they could do is do that and then make a direct sequel that basically writes Invisible War out of existence because that game had a horrible ending.
I didn't even get that far.
I'm going to spoil it for anybody. Basically,
spoiler.
The Dentons are reunited, and
the Dentons. The two brothers.
The two brothers are reunited.
Okay.
Basically, because the way Invisible War takes place is that all the endings happen for the original Deus Ex.
Yes.
Which is
weird.
Weird. So everything kind of happens at once. So the merger with Helios is not complete, and everything. And all this other stuff happens, and basically you can go alongside with them, or the ending happens to where you basically it's the same problem I have with all Deus Exes, and that is you can do so many different things to establish your beliefs for a certain way, and then the end is like choose your ending. But I established I hated this the entire time. Now I can end that way. Yeah, it's cool. No, but basically you can either fight and destroy the Dentons, or make his merging into a godlike being and make humanity a hive mind.
Okay.
It's really silly. So it basically sets itself up that a sequel will be really hard to happen after that and make it not seem absolutely silly. Because
the ending is either the Dentons get wiped out or they become God.
Yeah. And because the thing had all three endings happen, the collapse, the merger, and something else, or all the other things, we have like humanity lives kind of on like a quasi nano wasteland area outside of the safe zones around the world. So it's kind of like post-apocalyptic in a way at the same time, and it's just really it's really brutally lame for me. Like I think it really was the game was a letdown through and through. Like when I maxed my guy out before even getting halfway through the game, I went, there's a problem here. There's a big problem here. There's no more need for progression. I am basically awesome. And that shouldn't happen when I'm only in Cairo for the first time or the only time. So it was bad. But they should do something to get out of it and make a proper sequel for the game. But that's my take on that and E3 and gaming. Real quick before we have to wrap it up.
Yes.
Warlord Titan is nearly $2,000 US.
Yeah, and I want one, but we'll never have one.
Here's my biggest problem with things like this.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a miniature out of miniature wargaming, number one. It's huge. And you can see the rearward-facing last cannon defensive guns, and you can see the forward-facing, like, cool, like, really strong bolter-type weapons as well. Because they do have defensive guns on there. If people don't have the rules for it, they do have those. So they have a total of 6 weapons on there, 4 of which are upgradable. Actually, no, it's 2, 4, 8 weapons on there.
And 4 of them are upgradable.
4 of them are upgradable. But here's the deal. I understand this is a huge model and it's going to be priced accordingly. It is. They buy the whole on kit and caboodle because they sell it piecemeal, which I think is just silly. Like, I'm just going to buy the head.
Yep. Well, from my understanding, it's because they're going to be making multiple heads.
Right, but I mean, which is also silly on their part. But who's really looking at it, man? I wish I had a different head for this $2,000 model that I just bought.
To be perfectly honest, like, since this is the Mars pattern Titan, they should sell it with the head and then just sell optional heads.
I mean, they do. It is sold with the head.
No, it's sold with the head if you buy the whole kit and caboodle. If you buy the body does not come with the head. Yeah,
which is silly. And
it should be like the old Warhound. You got the 2 guns. If you want the others, you buy them.
Yeah, but the other thing is they never really fully gave us the Titan weaponry to sub that stuff out with anyway. So I don't know if they're really going to here. At this point, it doesn't matter. Why would you change the awesome volcano cannons? But anyway, it's just weird because if they do plan on doing other heads, it's not like they're going to make the boxy version of the Warlord Titan. This isn't even a chicken walker, so they should have went with that to begin with. But they're not going to make a whole other pattern of Warlord that drastic enough. I mean, it's clearly, like you said, going to be a head swap, but really it's not changing anything except a slightly different knight-looking head.
Yep.
But when a model is the price of several months' rent for me, that's an issue. When a model is a singular model is approaching the cost of potentially getting a used or new moped or a used motorcycle, or in some cases you can get a drivable, streetable, beat-up beater car for that price.
Yep.
There's an issue. Now, this is the conundrum. How do you make something cool and gigantic like this, but then make it, but at the same time not have it cost a bajillion dollars? The answer I have is I have no idea. But and then the question is, should this not be a thing? I don't think that's it either. It's cool to see. And realistically, I don't think they expect this to sell like hotcakes. And it is slightly cheaper than I expected.
Yes.
I expected it to be $2,500, to be honest. Honestly.
Yeah, no, I was shocked at the price that it came out to be.
It's still, I'm not saying it's a bargain. It's ridiculously expensive.
Yes. The two things is, one, I'm definitely probably going to pick up the head, just because it makes a cool display piece, especially if you do it the way Forge World did.
Yeah.
What makes me a little disturbed is I've seen a bunch of people post it on like Facebook links and forums and such, and the immediate answer everyone's comment is I'll just buy the Chinese one for $600. And I'm like, okay, how do you know it's going to be $600? And B, you are aware buying bootleg is why these models are so expensive. And then someone points out, it was interesting. Now, I'm just going to state this here for everyone. Then we're probably going to have to wrap this up because we're into like the hour and a half mark right now.
Yeah.
People constantly go, there was a comment that was said on one of the forums that I was reading. It said, these Chinese places prove that these models don't have to be overpriced. There's a little bit of, for lack of a better word, ignorance in that statement. And I'm going to break it down for you guys a little bit. When these bootleggers come in and they make a mold of these dudes and they sell them for like $600, $200, what have you, like a Phantom Titan, I think you can find for $300 with weapons. The reason for that is because now that process is some dude goes, buys the model. He then gets materials he needs to make a mold. He makes a mold. He then pours resin into that, and if it comes out good, he's got one item to sell. All this dude is paying for, this can be a one-man operation, so that one dude is paying for his supplies to make the mold and his resin to cast it.
Plus the Titan.
Plus the Titan,
yeah.
Yes. But I'm just saying in general, what his overall cost to make the model he is selling is to make the mold and to resin cast it.
Well, I mean, so basically his overall cost to start off with is the big expense is whatever he's casting. And then the pennies is the material. And then that's why he's able to recoup his losses.
Yes. Now, on the Forge World end, Forge World now, okay, they've got the modeler, that he gets a commission for every product sold. So let's just say we're going to make an argument here. Let's just say he makes, I'm just going to make some ridiculous number. Let's say he makes $50 per model that he makes that they sell. So that's $50 that's a price point going to the modeler. There's a price point for the designer if they got a different person to design it.
Yeah.
Then there is making the mold, maintaining the mold, pouring it, paying the guy that has to process the order, paying the guy that has to pack it, paying the guy that makes sure. There's like 20 dudes. There's 20 more expenses on their
part
end.
of the Warlord Pattern Titan, the Mars Pattern Titan, is the fact that it's also the cost of a company is in there.
Yep. So the Chinese guy isn't charging $600 because Forge World could get away with charging $600 and still make a profit. No, he's getting away with it because it costs him maybe $60 for the resin.
Oh yeah, no,
and he didn't have to do any of the work for the model, and he has no other expenses but to buy the model, then buy the rubber, then buy the resin. And to tell you right now, he's probably only spending $100 to make the mold of that thing.
And really, it could be done as a weekend warrior project, as a hobby. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with you 100%. Could the Warlord Titan be cheaper and still make a profit? I'm sure they are.
Probably.
There's a bit of premium price tag going on here.
There is a bit of premium price tag, yes. You could do, there is plenty of companies have proven if you sell at a little bit of a loss, you make it up in quantity of number. So, yes, there is a little bit of truth to that statement, but what you're failing to realize is the Chinese person who's the bootlegger, even if it's not Chinese, if it's Russian, German, whoever, the bootlegger is only paying for himself to go out to the store to buy his stuff. And someone else did all the work for him. And he doesn't have to pay that dude for that work.
And to be honest, I don't know what the total cost of making this one Warlord would cost. I don't know how much of a percentage in profit they're getting off the model. I don't.
Yes.
So I don't know how much cheaper it could get. I just can almost guarantee with any company, not just Forge World or anybody that makes anything, car companies, food, it can be cheaper than what they're charging us. They're charging us this because they know they can and still sell it. Now,
it is a suggested retail price for how much you could get away with someone paying.
Yeah. Now, it basically boils down to this. You're looking at... There are templates for making the boxy guy. You can do it yourself. Yep. You buy a bunch of plastic card and cardstock and stuff like that, and you can cut and shape and bend and everything and make it.
And hate yourself for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it could have looked pretty decent. Yeah, I've seen people who are amazing at scratch building things.
Yes, but there are people out there that I wish I was them when I need to scratch build something.
Exactly. Now, at the same time, this is for a model, and I will fully say, absurd cost. It's out of the realm of scope for 99% of people who are into this hobby because it's just absurdly priced, just like the Manta. But it's not like we're talking about a dude the size of a Space Marine. We're talking about a gigantic model. And honestly, there's nothing to compare it against because no other company is successful enough to make something like this, to be honest, for what they're doing. I really can't compare it. So there's that. But this is craftsmanship. What we're looking at here is the cost of craftsmanship versus replication. And for anything, if you're a car guy, you look at a car, or you're looking at fabrication because you're a maker, let's say a fabricator, and you see really tight and nice welds, and you see something that looks really good. There's craftsmanship behind that. Craftsmanship equates to more money spent to do it. That's why certain things that's why companies who are looking to turn a profit, you see them nothing like look at monitors today. Maybe there's one screw in it. The rest is snap fit, glued in, press fit. Yep. That screw costs money. The craftsmanship to put something together costs money. The way to jury rig it essentially, good detailed models. But Forge World is basically that craftsmanship company for making high quality resin kits. Yep. They're craftsmen.
They are the Lexus and Rolls Royce of the GW world.
Right. They're craftsmen in their own right. So whenever you're looking at something that's either hand built, craftsmen, time and effort put into it.
We can't stop you. We're not saying, shame, anything like that. That's your decision, that's your choice. Don't use bootleg pricing as an excuse that the company that they're bootlegging from should be taking lessons from.
Oh yeah.
Because that is a totally different monster altogether, and a bootlegger's price is not a proof of value to what a company should be charging for their item.
It's what they feel they can get away with by undercutting, essentially.
Yes.
Like
they're undercutting the market. Like a good example is Amazon. Amazon purposely drops their prices, sells at a loss to get more people to buy from them.
Yeah.
So that's all that's all this my little tirade rant is I'm just tired of people going, well, bootleggers prove that the models can be sold for cheaper. It's like, no, bootleggers prove that they can get you to buy from them because they sell it for cheaper.
And, and this is for any company, not just UW Forge. Well, basically look at it this way. You know how people say, you may encounter people saying, buy from a local hobby store, don't order online from the big box, support your local hobby store, and then you're going to support the hobby, so you're going to look at it that way. We're saying this because this is a big company, but if this was if this was a bunch of Infinity bootlegs and War Machine bootlegs and stuff, there would be a bigger outrage because those are smaller companies that could quite literally destroy them. So on the one hand, you're saying bootleggers, you're praising them in a way for showing what is the falsehood of cheaper models, and on the other hand, you'll condemn them because it could destroy a company just starting off. Yes. So you can't take it both ways. Bootleggers are bad regardless. Maybe you'll get a decent-looking Titan out of the deal or whatever it is for cheaper. Maybe you won't. But it's not good for the hobby in general, because if it were to get out of hand, you would see companies that are trying to still make it go out of business.
Yes, and like again, technically, in a speaking, it's like same deal with theft. People steal stuff like from like a retail store, something with the justification it's too stinking expensive. Well, it's too expensive because it keeps getting stolen, and we have to make up for the fact that it's being stolen.
I mean, that's getting into economics, which we don't have the time to really go through it all, but will things be expensive because they're expensive? Yes. Will things get more expensive to try and make up for the fact that loss of sales? Sure. The point is, bootlegging is dumb, so don't buy it.
Yes.
Plus, you can easily scam that up.
We encourage you to consider buying from a legitimate source over bootlegging. Even if it's your favorite local store, you're supporting them. You're giving them a means. If, like, for example, just again, like if you like a bootleg Terminators, buying bootleg Terminators hurts your favorite hobby shop because you're no longer buying from them. Yes, the bootlegger's cheaper than your favorite hobby shop, but they're stealing money from a person who's trying to legitimately sell you a product.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole big web, and it's not just like, and I'm just saying, it's more than just GW products that's being bootlegged.
Yes.
Everything's being bootlegged by somebody, and it's not, it hurts not just the company that they're bootlegging the product of, it hurts the sellers of said product at stores, it hurts...
and it hurts you.
It can hurt you wallet because there is no guarantee there either. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, $600, what a steal, and then you get it and it looks like it melted.
Or it's completely hollow.
Yeah. So, you got to be careful there. Buyer beware. Do what you're going to do, but understand that just because I'm able to do something at
it's do what you're going to do, but don't use it as a justification.
Yeah, I mean, there is no justification. It's just understand that the price of stuff is going to be the price of stuff, and no matter what, it's going to be expensive for certain things that are gigantic. So that's the way it is.
And as we said, this is a premium store. You and me got a brand new job. I'm going to celebrate with a stupid Forge World model type of thing, you know.
And we have to understand these models are not essentials to play the game. So right there, if that's your justification, well, you don't need them to begin with. Also, this is like an Apple store. They're expensive because that's the way you go through them. Forge World is like the Apple store, but I very much doubt you're going to try and get a bootleg iPad or something, because that's not ultimately going to be the best for your situation. People do it. People get by with it. People have it work just fine for them, but it's not always going to be the case. And why burn yourself? Even if it works 10 times and the 11th time you burn yourself, why burn yourself to begin with?
Yep. It's like those guys that buy the cheapo USB cord, even though it breaks 2 weeks later, but it's $5. Well, you're still spending like $15 in a month, rather than you just bought a good cable that will last you 2 years. But so, man, we got on a little bit of a rant there about doing the right thing.
Well, it's just because more and more people look at companies as the enemy, and you know what? That's part of the reason why they appear that way. Is their company isn't going out there going, with a monocle snickering in the back, going, I'm going to take over the world, unless it's Walmart. Airport. But
I've got their money.
Yeah. Unless it's Walmart, and the only reason I use that joke is because they own their own airport.
They do.
So,
and they have their own communities for their employees to live in.
Yeah.
So they can be at the beck and call whenever.
They may be trying to take over the world, but for the most part, other companies are not. But when we're putting that stigma on them, and then that's how it gets disseminated amongst the way you kind of make them, you portray them, and that in of itself is a whole other can of worms. So no matter what company it is, I say buy from your gaming stores, buy from the company, because these established companies have guarantees and have policies in place that ultimately protect you. And a bootlegger or the guy on the side of the street or the guy in the back of the van saying, I got Titans to sell, doesn't have any of that to help you out. So be careful out there.
And also, for any argument out there going, well, this site offers guarantees too. Yes, you have to also remember it's in China.
Yeah, or
I ordered. Okay, I'm going to admit I ordered something that isn't made anymore at all from China because I needed it and no one makes it anymore. It took 2 months to get to me. If I had a problem with them, it would take another 2 months to get fixed. If you had a problem with Forge World, it's fixed in a week.
Yeah, no, and also, I mean, we can get on and on and on about it, but really it's just a case of no matter what we're looking at, cars, models, food, entertainment, when there's people operating outside the law, essentially, because that's essentially what they're doing for this, it hurts all of us. And if you support that, it's only hurting you more so in the end. That's why things have policies and price tags on them that they have now, because of things like that. So,
yes. So, wow. Before we continue on another rant, that is all for today. If you have your own opinion on what we've been rambling about, feel free to leave a comment. We'd like to hear your opinion on it. Whether or not you agree or disagree with us, we'd love to hear it.
Yes, that's why we ranted on so long, just to see if you get angry enough to comment on it.
We have a bet.
We have a plan, all as planned.
If you haven't yet, subscribe to us. That way you get to these as soon as they come out. Like this video for us. That way it gets circulated and more people can find out about us. And hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, Fearless Gamers, this is Matt the Vet.
James the Wildcard.
Saying take care.
Peace.